Circle. Okay, the pen is kind of spazzy because I'm actually recording it as I write today, so that way you can follow along. Because part of it has to do with completing the square to put it in standard form, and being able to follow it as you go actually works a little bit better. Okay. Most of you probably remember a long time ago when you had geometry, your equation of your x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Yes? Okay, well then we're going to review this. And for those of you, if you want to follow along, it's on page 196 in your book. Page 196 in your book. Okay, so it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This h comma k, okay, is the center. You remember seeing an h and a k somewhere else in something we did? Or vertex form of stuff, right? So with that vertex form, our h and our k was our vertex. Yeah? But for this, since we're talking about a circle, it's going to be the actual center of our circle. What is our r value going to be representing? Our radius. And similar to when we had talked about our other stuff, if you have stuff in parentheses, you always are going to take the what? No, not square root. Opposite of. Remember? Because when we had our vertex, whatever was in the parentheses went the opposite direction. Okay, so if I had x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 64, what would the center of my circle be? 3, negative 2, because those are located where? In the parentheses. Okay, my radius is going to be 8. Because what is the square root of 64? 8. Okay. Now, will everything come out nice and pretty every time? No, it's not going to. Because we know with the numbers that we usually have, we're going to have square root of some things that don't just go away. All right? All right, so let's look at one that may be close, but not quite. Okay? For example, you might have one that is x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 120. Okay? So what do we know? The center is 4, 2. It won't be perfect, but we know we'd have to take the square root of what? Square root of 120. So we simplify that the best we can. So 120 will break down to 12 and a 10. 10 is going to break 2 and a 5. 12 can break to a 2 and a 6. And 6 is going to break to a 2 and a 3. I have a pair of what? So that means I'm going to have the 2 is going to go out. And I'm going to be left with the square root of 2 times 3 times 5, 30. So my radius is 2 square root of 30. Yes? Okay. Now, the harder ones are the ones that are not in standard form when you originally have them. This way right here, that the H and the K way is your standard form. Sometimes you get equations in general form where everything's already been multiplied out. For example, you might have one that is x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 8y plus 11 equals 0. Okay? Now, when we're doing our equations, the biggest thing is that we need to be able to group stuff together to where we got something with our x perfect and squared, something with our y perfect and squared, and then equals our constant value, right? So what we're going to do is group things the way they go together. So I've got an x squared. Who else should go with it? Minus the 4x. Leave you some space. Then we're going to take our y squared plus who? The 8y. Leave you some space. And I'm going to move the 11 to the other side. Okay? Because the constant always has to do with our radius, right? And where is it always located? On the other side by itself. Okay. Now, we have to make our perfect number so that we can factor this nicely. So if I add something here and add something here, what am I going to have to do on the other side? Be careful. One side and the other side. How do you keep everything balanced? That's if it's on the same side. Do the same because we're balancing across the equals. Okay? You have to be very careful. If it was all on the same side, in order to even everything out on one side of something, yes, I'll agree. It'd be opposite operations, keeping everything totally even. But if that equals is our balancing pole, and we got to stay the same on both sides of this, that means we add here, we add here, we add here, we add there. Okay? So you got to keep it balanced on both sides. How do we find what goes in the blank? Half and square. Yep, I'll agree with that. So we're going to take our 4, half it, we get 2, square it, we're going to have 4. So that's going to go in which one? The first one. And then it's going to go in that one as well. Then I'm going to take my other one. I'm going to take that 8 and do the same thing. Half it, and I'm going to get 4. Square it, and I'm going to get 16. So 16 is going to go in that other blank. So now all we have to do is factor. Okay, this lovely right here, x squared minus 4x plus 4, will factor nicely into x minus 2 what? Squared. Okay, then we've got this lovely, which will factor nicely into y plus 4 squared. Then we're going to simplify this constant stuff that's here on the outside. So a negative 11 plus 4 plus 16 is going to give me a total of what? 9. So now everything is in the perfect form here, right? So which part is going to make my center? 2, negative 4. And what is my radius going to be? So if I had to go and graph this, what would I need to do first? Okay, so if the center's 2, negative 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's my center. From that center, how far do I count? Up 3, right 3, left 3, and down. And that's the best I can do. That doesn't look quite, but let's see how close. Pretty close, didn't I? Yeah, I know. Mine looks kind of more like an egg, doesn't it? It's kind of. Okay, do we get the process here? Yes. Okay, good. All right, let's take another one of those. All right, let's say you've got okay, you've got x squared plus y squared minus 10x minus 6y equals 30. Help me out. What should we do? Okay. Good job. All right. So for this, we've got two perfects we have to put on that side. So that means we have two perfects we have to add on the other side. Okay. How am I going to get the one that goes in this blank right here? So that 10 divided by 2, we're going to get 5. And then square it, we'll end up with 25. That's going to go right there, yes? Okay. And it's also going to go on the other side of the equals as well, keeping everything even. What about for this one? Because 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. Square it makes 9. So 9 is going to go in that blank. Yes? Simplify. First one will factor into x minus 5 squared. Then the next one's going to factor into y minus 3 squared. And then we've got 30 plus 25 plus 9. So what is the center? 5, 3. And what's our radius? How many of you remember this? Good. How many of you don't think it's too bad? Okay. Okay. Given the point 2, negative 1, and that the radius is 4, write the equation. Mm-hmm. So if we know our equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, what are we plugging in for h and for k? The 2 and then negative 1. What are we going to be plugging in for r? The 4. So we're going to have x minus 2 squared y plus 1 squared equals, okay, was that terrible? Okay. Okay. Yes, no, maybe. Good.